Hello guys, so you join me from the delights of a sunny Ogwen Valley today. Trevon there in the background looking magnificent as always, up onto Glyder Fach and Castell y Gwynt, Glyder Fawr. You can see the east ridge of Agan there, and then right down Nant Francon towards Foelgoch, etc. So I'm making my way up Pen at Ole Wen, which I'll look up the Welsh translation, but Pen means head, Wen means white, so I suspect it's something to do with this peak being kind of at the head of the valley and probably always looking like it has a white dusting on it. So I'm heading up this pretty challenging scramble here, straight up from Ogwen Cottage. Join me at the top. We'll see what it's like up there. Now the issue with a hike like this on a day like today, a little bit pushed for time, so we've got to keep the pace going. Full winter camping set up on my back, so 8.5, 9 kilos, plenty of extra load, and the route is deceptively steep and direct from Ogwen Cottage, so not to be underestimated. Leave yourselves enough time, guys. Like I said, I'm pushing it a little bit, but I trust my fitness levels and knowledge of the local area. So that's where we're heading, guys. Nothing too technical to head up this direct route to Pen or Ole Wen. Maybe a little bit scrambly towards the top, nothing more technical than probably grade one minus. Again, Ogwen is looking absolutely glorious today, but it's very busy. Cars and people like ants all over the place. So heading up here, which is one of the quieter peaks, shall we say, whilst everybody heads for the honeypot locations of Llynbochloyd and Trevon and the Glyders, and then Llynidwal there, and the rest of the northern Glyderau. So yeah, trying to avoid the crowds where I can, but I wanted to camp up here for a while, so what a beautiful day for it. General comment about buying the right kit when you're doing this sort of hike and wild camp, guys. Here's a perfect example. Somebody lost the sole of their shoe. Well, shoe, boot, on the way up. Can't imagine they had a good time on the way back down. Hello guys, here we are on the summit of Carnedd. It's Pen or Ole Wen. It's pretty flat and featureless. You can see kind of David in the background there, and kind of Llywelyn, shrouded in a bit of cloud. Back over there towards Pen Helgi D. Back round towards Trevon and the Glyderau. And then even out here, right out towards the Menai Straits. So it's a fantastic view from up here, guys. Highly recommend it. Bit of a featureless summit plateau. Got a bit of a southwesterly wind coming from behind me. Potentially some weather coming in overnight. So I'm going to try and find a nice flat spot up here. Test out the Kuiu Storm Star two-person, which I've been looking forward to testing for a while. And I'll bring you back in a second where I've found a pitch and somewhere nice to hopefully have a nice relaxing evening. So here we are with the Kuiu Storm Star. What I absolutely love about this tent is it's outer pitch first, or outer and inner combined. But it kind of goes up in sections, similar to a Hilleberg Solo. So it has this really taut X-pack material on the main pole lines to give it some structure. And also something really useful, especially on a summit like this, is the pegging points are adjustable. So up here you will struggle to find pegging points. It's quite a shallow earth. So you have the option here to really tweak your pegging points on the Kuiu to ensure you get a nice strong pitch. As you can see, the conditions have changed a bit. Clouds come in, but here we are, nearly set up. It's been a bit of an ordeal getting the pegs in because of the shallowness of the ground. So you can see I've used some summit cairn boulders just to pin it down a little bit, but quite breezy up here at the minute. Tent's not budging. So far, very impressed. So I've not quite finished all the pegging out and fettling, as we call it in the trade. A couple more. Summit is just up there. There's no real ledge here on Ole Wen, but yeah, with the Storm Star you're meant to pitch the head into the wind. So I'll get these up in a sec. I'm just going to get a brew on, but hopefully you can hear the wind. As you can see, it's I need to get that point on at some point. No chance with one hand. You can see the tension on it, but that X-Pack material that runs along it is super strong. But, yeah, she ain't budging. She ain't budging, even with a nice breeze. So, all pitched up at 3,000 feet for the evening. I've just watched Wales lose to England, which as a Welshman is never good. Some thoughts about the tent. So, putting it up, brilliant. Really enjoyed the way it kind of pitches. Similar to the Hilleberg Solo in that regard, you kind of clip as you go. And there's a few tents of this ilk where you can kind of build them from the ground up, which when you're in bad weather or when it's windy, really useful. There's as is with any tent, there are some annoyances with this tent already, and I will go through them in a minute. Something to think about is the number of pegging points for it. I think there are 6 main pegging points to secure the ground. Although, as I said earlier in the video, the fact that you can adjust those pegging points is superb, especially on stony ground like I'm currently pitched on. Means you can really optimize your pitch and account for rocky ground, shallow substrate, etc. However, the guying points as well, I think there are, let me count them off in my head, there's 2 at each end, so that's 4, 2 either side, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 guy lines in total, which actually means once you factor those in, you've got 16 pegging points. Now, luckily I brought some spare pegs with me. You do get 16 pegs with the tent. You get 6 longer ones and 10 shorter ones. For my money, the pegs I didn't get. I haven't got them on video, but they're similar to MSR groundhogs, that kind of Y peg design, and they're both the 6 main points to secure the structure, and the pegging point and the guy line pegs I feel are a little bit short. So I brought some 9-inch Easterns with me from one of my other tents. and they've kind of augmented the pegging and solved that problem for me. So just something to think about, and maybe something that Kuiu could think about as well, is I think they need better pegs to come with this. Just to give you a frame of reference on the pegs, these are the standard ones that come with the Storm Star for guy points and the main pegging points. These are my go-to pegs, Easton 9-inch nails, and yeah, you can kind of see why. These must be 6 or 7-inch groundhog clones, so they're not bad for an issue with a tent. I'm quite impressed with these, but these are my favourites, and I'll probably buy some additional ones of these to go with the Storm Star and sub these shorter groundhog clones out, because I don't think these are suitable for the guy points, given their importance to nailing the tent down. So I haven't quite got my organisation down in this tent yet, but what I am loving so far is the storage. You've got these overhead pockets at each of the 4 corners, which obviously the tent is designed for 2 people, as you can see. It's 140 across at the head end. I think it's a bit tighter again at the foot end of 120, but I am taking full advantage of that because I'm perched on a bit of an incline, so I'm kind of sleeping diagonally across the tent tonight. So which is an added advantage of a tent like this, which is actually a 2-person tent at 2.6 kilos all in. So you guys in your Hilleberg solos, either in the normal red label or the black label, you know, what are they, 2.8 to 3 kilos for less room? Do I feel this is a weaker tent? Not so far, for sure. 16 pegging points, 6 on the structure, 10 guy lines, 3 DAC 9mm poles. So the only thing where this, I think, doesn't have an advantage over a Hilleberg is maybe the longevity of the fly material. It's 30D sil nylon, but it's also augmented by X-Pack, which runs along the entire kind of X and crossing points of all the, basically the lines of the poles to provide that structure. And something I do love about this tent is just how tensioned the inner is. According to the app I'm using, we're looking at about 10 to 15 mile an hour winds up here, up on Ole Wen in the Carnevi. It feels a little bit more blustery than that, maybe closer to 20 mile an hour tonight. And it's barely moving in here. The inner is not flapping at all, which means I should be able to get a decent night's sleep. As standard, it comes with like washing line, which I've got my buffs and my socks up on. You've probably, if you're interested in this tent, you've probably seen the vents before, so I can access both vents to deal with condensation from the inner. A few people have raised concerns that these vents on the inner don't have fly mesh on them, but if you wanted more ventilation, you can just peel back this inner to reveal mesh and get a nice cross flow of air going through. So I don't think they're necessary, to be honest. I don't think they're needed. Absolutely palatial for one. You could get 2 people in here, no problem. Maybe not tonight because of the pitch I've chosen. I was pushed for time when I got up here, so I chose the first half decent looking pitch I could find. But the tent went up no problem. So all is good in that regard. I can't quite do a video on it, but one annoyance with this tent so far, I think I've seen it in another review, are these door tiebacks. They are hook and toggle, which I like, but the hook itself is tiny, and in cold weather like this, to try and fiddle and get that hooked up. So I may bring some pegs with me next time, or I may look at DIYing and making the hook a little bit longer to address that. But yeah, super annoying in the cold. So if anyone from Kuiu ever watches this video, these door tiebacks are absolutely useless when you're at 3,000 feet, cold hands, or you have normal man-sized hands and trying to put those doors back. But yeah, really impressive far. I'll bring you back for some more. Oh, a little feature there, which I'm sure other people have talked about in their reviews of this tent. You have a glow-in-the-dark ram's head on the roof. I'm not really sure of the utility of it other than a bit of branding, but it's quite cool when you turn the light off and you have that glowing in the dark back of you. So yeah, I'm gonna get a beer. I've brought a couple of beers with me. Gonna get some warm food on and kind of settle in for the night. So just a general point, guys, about having the right kit. On my watch here, you can see the temperature that it was on my wrist going up. So a balmy 24 degrees. I've taken the watch off and just put it in one of those pockets. Current temp inside the tent, 6 degrees. Forecast tonight is for -7 with wind chill. So having a tent that is up to these kind of conditions, you would not want to be out in -7 without some protection from the elements. So super important to have the right gear with you to keep you comfortable and warm. Obviously my theory on it is spend as much as you can afford on the right gear. It doesn't have to necessarily be the latest greatest ultralight gear, but also something to consider when you are coming on a winter camp. You are going to be carrying more gear because it's colder, and so if you can afford more expensive lighter gear, it's going to make your hike up to your desired spot a bit more enjoyable. You're not going to be hauling as much gear. I climbed up today with, like I said, 8.5, 9 kilos, and maybe a little bit more once I factor in water, and that felt like hard work. So yeah, just some general rambling here, thinking about, you need protection from the elements when you are camping in winter. And so yeah, buy the best, the lightest gear you can afford. What that is very individual, comes down to you, what your budget is, what you can afford. But it's definitely worth spending a bit extra on a few bits of kit, especially shelter, if you plan on camping high up in exposed conditions. Some more random thoughts while we're here chilling in the tent. I know these fire pot meals, probably because they're sold in Go Outdoors, tend to get a bit of flack for being not so tasty for dehydrated meals. However, when I got up here earlier, I made some what's this, baked apple porridge. Yes, porridge for tea. If you're a northerner, you will love porridge at any time of the day. Just for some energy after the hike up Ole Wen. I was absolutely toasted by the steepness of that climb. So made this for a kind of snack when I got up. And I tell you what, I thought this was delicious. So I know fire pot meals get a lot of hate on the YouTube and online community generally, or tend to be regarded as one of the weaker brands for dehydrated meals, but my experience so far, I thought this was spot on. And I think I've got spicy pork noodles for my dinner / supper, so I'll give them a mini review as well in a sec. Come out for a quick explore before bed, and a wee, of course, and just to check everything over. You can see the Storm Star there is stuck like an absolute limpet. Probably get a better appreciation for all the guiding points here with some of the torch from my headlamp, but it's got a lot. But yeah, the wind's dropped off a bit, not much, bit of clag come in, but it's holding firm, and so far I'm really impressed by just how taut of a structure it is, both outside and in, not flapping at all. So let's see, there's some weather forecast to come in early morning, so it's going to be an early start. Hopefully get this down and bug out before the weather really deteriorates. But yeah, absolutely nailed down for the night, checked all the guide points, and yeah, let's get cozy, get some grub on before bed, and I'll see you in a tick. So there we go, just brewing up some water in the vestibule. As you can see, I've got my trekking poles, my bag, which is a 40-litre bag, and plenty of room still to cook, and I've got the other vestibule the other side. So from that perspective, there is absolutely tons of room in this tent. I've just cracked the door a little to add some additional venting, being as we're cooking, but I've already got the top vents open as well. So we're on the fire pot spicy pork noodles, something I think people don't really pay much attention to when they're out wild camping or hiking. Nutrition on these is pretty good, 510 calories, nearly 23 grams of fat, so not hellishly high on the fat, 51 grams of carbohydrate, but also a decent amount of protein there, 25 grams of protein, which helps you recover, helps with muscle growth, muscle recovery. So if you've had a heavy day out in the mountains, then also consider, don't just pick up dehydrated meals thinking they'll cover all your bases. Have a look at the nutrition on the back. Generally speaking, you want at least 20 grams of protein, probably closer to 30 or 40 if you've had a hard day in the mountains. But yeah, minimum of 20 grams I would recommend. But yeah, super impressed with the room in this tent. So one vestibule for cooking and kit, the other vestibule for my boots. So plenty of room for everything. Here's a little accessory that I didn't really think had a lot of utility, but actually does. So these UCO candles, they burn for absolutely ages. They're not particularly cheap. I think you're looking at 30 to 40 pounds for one, but they do provide a nice ambience for your camping adventures. But I'd clocked them on a well-renowned other YouTubers' videos. A gentleman called Andrew Parks, Scottish guy who has reviewed more tents than I've had hot dinners. And in his experience, he'd said that using the UCO candles adds a few degrees of temperature to your tent, especially in winter, and the heat they give off can help with condensation. And I would actually say I agree. From my experience of using them, once you've got it lit, as long as you use your vents, obviously you don't want to build up of dangerous kind of gases or carbon monoxide in your tent. But for when you're kind of just chilling out pre-bed, they definitely help with yeah, a few degrees of temperature and a little bit of nice candlelit dinner ambience. So they're quite heavy, certainly not essential, but if you've got room for them in your pack and you've got the budget for one, I would recommend them. So yeah, a little bit of a mini review, some thoughts about the UCO candles. See if you can pick one up second hand, give it a go. But from my perspective, I would recommend one. Good morning, campers. So yeah, last night was interesting. Winds really dropped off middle of the night, and it was quite quiet until the early hours of this morning, where they picked back up again. So I haven't been out yet. I need to go out for a wee, and I guess I would say we've probably got 20 mile an hour constant, with maybe some stronger gusts, and hopefully you get an impression on the back wall of just how little movement there is on the inner of this tent. So it feels super confidence inspiring, super strong. I mean, obviously 20 mile an hour is nothing really when you're camping quite high up, but it's been a good little test, this, I think. Overnight, really high humidity, so I can see there's a lot of condensation knocking about the inside of the tent, but I've stayed nice and dry in here. I can see there's a little bit on the inner directly above me now, but this inner is treated with a DWR, so none of that condensation has come through actually into the living space, shall we say. So yeah, not the best night's sleep. I never find I actually sleep that well when I'm wild camping. Things on my mind, not worrying but thinking about my routine for the morning and how I'm going to get the tent down and the route out, etc. So yeah, if you've got any tips, if you're watching this and you've got any tips on getting a better night's sleep whilst wild camping, then I'm all ears. Put some in the comments. This is what I meant about the how stable how taut the inner is compared to the likes of a Hilleberg, which is pretty much the standard for 4-season tents. But you can just see that even though I'm being buffeted by the wind, it's really not moving much at all. That's the blob of condensation I can see, but it's not coming through. So yeah, time to get up, get a brew, service Mother Nature, and start packing up to get off the mountain, to be honest. So we didn't get a sunrise. Ole Wen was absolutely plagued in, so I've just scrambled down off the summit. Nothing too difficult again. It's a grade 1 scramble, but my walking pole has come a cropper. Managed to catch it on a rock and snap it. So more kit shopping, yay! But yeah, what a view to finish off. So I'm heading down there to where the car is parked on the A5, down via Kuiu Storm here again. So I'll catch you on the next one, guys.